something that I think would be interesting. But maybe this show, whatever you're talking about, is interesting.
Yeah. And it's about time travel. And tell us about that, Tris. Can you summarize what?
Actually, I never finished watching this, but what I do know, I know reading reviews about it. It's about time travel. It's, it's about it can be something that referenced with Chernobyl because we have in the city the series is on Germany. So in the city in question has a nuclear usine, and sometimes we think they are talking about Chernobyl. And something about time is theory. All theories about time in physical, logical, and non-logical. So uh, sometimes it's difficult to understand what is going on. It's something like talk about in I don't know 30, 30 years in future, 30 years in past, and now. The first episode is on 2017, I think, or 18. So everything happens in 33 years in future and past at the same time. So sometimes you get lost in who is who, or who is mothers of a who, because everybody is part of someone because it is time lapsing.
Is it the same people's lives across those different times?
It's because happens something at in a time in exactly at same day in same hour in same 33 years. It's happening every time in this date. So someone is possible to travel in time, but sometimes that person people are catched by surprise, don't know what is going on. So sometimes one person or one character goes to past and live his life in past, but actually he is from now. So, and he create a family in past, but now in Henry, for example, he has 14 years now, and travel to past and create a family in the past, and he's actually family in now is living as an adult while he was a teenager, something like this. It's so confusing, so lost in time. You have to write down who is who in each time, each year, because you get lost so easy.
Yeah. I have a problem with that. Like when I read Game of Thrones, like the first book, I powered through it because I wouldn't understand what was going on. There's too many people to keep track of. And every chapter was about a specific person in a very distant land. So, and it was kind of hard to connect all of the dots, even though you could at some point. But keeping track of too many storylines is something I'm not the best at. This is why I've been procrastinating this show.
I
And
teach
and the
literature for a long time, and students always sort of raise that issue. How can I read a complicated novel when it has so many characters? Or if the language is very, very complicated. Even in English, you have a writer like Gabriel Garcia Marquez, you know, that author
Yeah,
from, you know him, Gabriel Garcia Marquez,
I've heard of him. Never read him though.
from Colombia. He's a great 20th century novelist. And it's tough because the plot is complicated. There's a lot of characters, but I always just give the same advice, even with Game of Thrones, which I liked very much. There's nothing wrong with going on the internet and looking at a summary or finding a list of characters and then
Yes.
preparing to read that complicated novel and get a sense, what is this chapter about? What is, what's the setting? Who are the major characters? Because it is easy to lose track. It is easy to get confused by that. But in English or in American literature, you have William Faulkner, who is like Gabriel Garcia Marquez, or in Ireland, you have James Joyce. They're terribly difficult to read. But you just go in and just do some research first, find a website that just gives you a plot summary. And at least you go in there with some kind of, not, it makes it a lot easier. There's no shame in it.
Yeah. Tris, Jeff, and also Mindie. Jeff recommended us like a list of books to.
Short, no, they're not books. Short pieces.
They're not books?
They're
Short
not
pieces?
books. These were, I guess you didn't read them.
I didn't read them, the books.
No, these are all like essays, short stories. Very
yeah.
short. I kept that in mind. I didn't want to hit you with really long pieces.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
are you going to share these recommendations?
Yeah, I have a PDF. I compiled his list and.
You made a beautiful. That was a beautiful presentation.
Thank you. So if you guys want it, I can send it to you guys.
Yes, please.
Please.
Locating it right now.
I'm trying to get back to my reading habits.
Reading what?
That was the idea. Was what are some readings that are tough, but if you read them and appreciate them, it just is great language skills. You have great vocabulary. There's a lot of humor or wit, and these things I think are important. The subtleties of language.
Yes.
And these pieces, I just picked out a short, group of them just to kind of illustrate that.
Yes. When I was starting learning English, I catch up some of my favorite books in time, like Percy Jackson, Harry Potter, and I get the English version in PDF and read them. And some parts of the book make sense to me because when we translate, some things get lost. So when I read in English, I understand the humor reference or anything about was talking about. And I felt so smart to understand what's going on.
Your first language is Brazilian Portuguese?
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, this book comparison activity is quite useful for learning languages. Because,
oh, I bet.
Yeah. Well, after you have. Okay, I believe that the less layers you have to go through, the deeper you can get. Like if you've read the book before in your own language, you already have the pictures in your mind. Like you read the book and you make images and you know the plot. So the meaning and plot and understanding of it is dealt with. You can get that out of the way. So now when you read it again in a different language, you can focus on pronunciation and vocabulary and structure on like the language itself. If you did it from scratch, you have to do all of that at the same time. And the more things you have to do at the same time, the less deep you can go, right?
But you can also see the limitations in a translation. If you can.
Yes, this is kind of a setback in a way. Do you? So you read Gabriel Garcia Marquez in actually in Spanish would be Gabriel Garcia Marquez in English or in Spanish?
Only in English. Yeah, I mean my Spanish is very limited. So the only book that I attempted to read in Spanish because it was short and I knew it well was Ernest Hemingway's The Old Man and the Sea. You know that little book? And it's sort of good because it's so straightforward and the sentences and the language is very, I don't want to say simplistic, but certainly certainly clear and straightforward.
I see. And you had read it before?
Oh no, that was the reason why I read it in Spanish, is because I knew it very well in English. So it made it easier to read it in Spanish.
I see. What about you, Mindie? So you speak Punjabi and English. Have you tried any other languages?
Yeah, and I know a little bit of a colloquial Arabic in the Egyptian dialect. I can speak Hindi, more or less like the Asian languages. So I'd say about those 4 languages I could speak fluently, not fluently, sorry, but more conversational.
I see.
Where are you located right now?
Sorry?
Where are you located right now?
England, United Kingdom.
Uh-huh. What city?
Birmingham.
Birmingham. Okay. Wow. Is it chilly?
It is chilly, yes. And plus, I'm always cold. You'll always see me wrapped up in
Yeah, you are.
in like a hoodie or a shawl. Even if it's summer, I'm pretty bad.
Well, that's England, I guess, for you. I've never been there, but I hear about the climate.
Yeah, you know what? The country is actually really good, but the climate, there's like 4 seasons in one day, which is so crap. But hey, you gotta make the most of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And for context, Jeff, Mindie's family is from India, so she has like a background in Indian culture, so a lot to share.
Wow.
Jeff, you know where your family came from, like your ancestrals?
Like grandparents?
Sorry?
Like grandparents, you mean?
Yeah.
Previous generations? Yeah, I mean, they're all were European Jews, so Ukraine and Belarus, former Soviet Union. On both sides of the family, like my grandfather, his family was from Ukraine, and then as they came to the United States, my great grandmother was pregnant, so they stopped in London, had my grandfather, and kept on going to the United States. So my grandfather had, I guess he was born in England, but I don't think that they were there for more than a few months.
I see.
Yeah.
I don't blame him.
But I very much
Maybe so cold.
I'd love to see England. It has such a great history. There's so much to see and so many, music and everything. I mean, yeah, Shakespeare, of course. I guess at the right time. I guess that one good month where the weather is good. See the whole country.
Yeah, I would recommend either May, June, or August and September.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully they let us out of the country. Other countries will allow us to travel, and we'll get there soon.
Yeah, I'm hoping that too.
Now this new variation of the virus that's in there, like, is there any kind of new like stuff you have to do to prepare to protect?
Yeah, so what's happened here is we're in our 3rd national lockdown. So with the 3rd national lockdown, it's going to be reviewed around middle of February. There are 4 criteria that we need to meet to see if the lockdown can be restricted. The 4 criteria, I know some of them, which is like the amount of, the fatalities to be decreased and other stuff like that, and make sure that hospitals are not so overwhelmed. And if we were to go out, we can only go out for essentials, the typical stuff. We can only meet one person outside to go out for a walk, or we can meet people in our support bubble or in our household. But there's also a very strict criteria for people to be in your support bubble. If we were to work, you have to work from home, if that's possible, as long as you've got the right setup. But it's more or less like the same lockdown rules from the first round. But it's just people are a little bit ignorant, just a little bit. But in terms of like what's happening, I think the reason why the lockdowns are going to be reviewed in mid-February is because Boris has a target to meet for almost everyone in the vulnerable category to be vaccinated by mid-February.
Who has a target?
Boris Johnson, the PM, our Prime Minister.
Prime Minister.
Yeah, so he's got a target for at least 2 million people to be vaccinated by mid-February, and hopefully we can get a roll on with our lives. But we'll see what happens. It's still pretty poor every day.
That's
Yeah.
not very ambitious.
That's very ambitious.
No,
Nope, I don't agree. No.
I don't think it is ambitious, right? I mean, 2 million by February?
It's too few.
Uh,
I think it's too few.
I mean, they're trying to get like something like 1 million per day here.
Wow, seriously?
Yeah.
Is that possible?
I mean, granted, it's the United States, it's much larger and all of this, but yeah, even still, most of everything that has happened in the last 8, 9, 10 months has been completely incompetent. So even I suppose for the United States, I would assume that's ambitious, but that just doesn't seem like a lot.
maybe not on the grand scale of the population for USA, but I do feel like 2 million is quite ambitious given the interruptions that we're having. Because for the frontline health workers who are given the opportunity to get the vaccine, not even given the opportunity, but they should take the vaccine, it's been delayed for them as well. So there's been that interruption, and it's been delaying a lot of people from getting the vaccination. So 2 million by mid-February, it seems ambitious if there's constant delays. So it's questionable. It's been a very shoddy arrangement. It's a good arrangement, but it's still very shoddy. Yeah. Without making this very corona political topical, but yeah, moving on.
Tris, do you know anything about your ancestors, your grandparents or your great-grandparents?
No.
No?
I just heard also my grandmother from my mother family said that my grandfather, sorry, I thought the name in French. My grandfather was from Ceará, but only this. I don't know if we are from another country or if we have parents in other parts of the country.
Yeah. And this is a very, it's like a large difference in culture. Here in Brazil, we don't normally know where we came from, like our ancestors come from, you know?
Is that right?
Sorry?
I know. I'm just curious about that. Just because, what is the reason for that? Is it because there hasn't been? I guess. What is the reason for that?
I'm not sure. Like we know that we came like mostly from Europe, Africa, and from the natives.
Right.
But we can't actually tell usually that maybe it's part of the culture. We don't have the culture of knowing the names of our great grandparents. I don't know the names of my great grandparents. I don't know where they came from. You know? And this is
Now, is that also because the record keeping was particularly distant, or?
It's okay. Like I can definitely access the document. My mother has it. I even took a picture once, but I never connected to them. I never heard about them. No stories about them. Probably that's different in different families, of course. But and that also impacts language in the sense that in the UK and the US, usually you say, for example, Mindie, you can say I'm Indian, right? You can say that.
Yeah.
But I never say I'm African or I'm native Brazilian or I'm Italian.
Portuguese.
We say we are Brazilian, you know.
We don't have the surname thing. For example, we can recognize on family someone by surname. You say,
Yeah, it's quite
oh, your
mixed up.
surname is that, so probably you parent of someone, you relative from someone, or anything no, because
Yeah.
the most of us has a surname similar or equal. So the last name, so my almost everybody has Silva, Silveira, anything like that.
Common ones. That's many of us have European surnames because of the slaves. Like when a slave master bought a slave, they had the same surname as the slave master. So we don't actually know whether we have European origins directly or we are from from a slave family, you know.
There's a wonderful irony among many here in the United States in that the tradition was that black people who were enslaved took the last name of the current president. So they would always say Washington or Jefferson or Johnson, and that's why you have so. But the funny thing is that at this point, the only people who would still even have those last names anymore are the descendants of those slaves. You wouldn't see white people with the last name Washington or Jefferson. Those would be strictly African American last names. They're the only people, for whatever reason, that still have those last names.
Now, Brazil is older than the US, right? The US like started the
Well, when is the date of independence, or when did you become an independent country?
I don't remember the notice.
Independent country.
Well, I assume it was a Portuguese colony. Independence.
Century 18.
Looking at it was 1822. Yeah, actually, Brazil was younger.
Yes.
Right.
US already was a republic country.
Yeah, it was 17 something, right?
United
Yes.
States.
Sorry, Joe?
United States.
Yes.
Yes.
1776.
Yeah.
No offense to Mindie.
I was gonna get 77. I was gonna miss that.
We got it. We received our independence from Britain.
Yeah, and Britain is centuries old.
I know this because I know that the United States independence made the how can I say interfered in our independence idea.
Interference.
Yes. So it was the United States, and if I remember, the French Revolution that made us want to get independence.
Let's see.
Now, Brazil obviously didn't achieve independence the same time as all those other South American countries because that was Bolivar, right? And that's independence from Spain. But Brazil is unique in South America because it was a colony of Portugal. So
Yeah.
Yes.
But what is it? It's something like 7 or 8 South American countries were all liberated. How many?
But our independence, it wasn't to a republic, it was to an imperium. So something that's different between our independence, alright? It was just because how can I say the king's son from Portugal, who was living here in Brazil, wanted to make a kind of strategy to make the rich people happy about something. I don't remember now. The only way he could get this is if Brazil was independence. But anyway, how he was from Portugal, if he did that, it was only for get this privilege. But anyway, he could get the privilege from Portugal too. So it was just a strategy, polite thing. So we become an empire, and after that, so long that we became a republic.
I'm learning something new.
Just wait
I'm quiet. I'm learning something new.
Sorry, Mindy.
I said if I'm not saying anything, I'm actually learning something really interesting here.
Yeah.
So I like to.
Me too. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, no, very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do there? Are you?
Sorry.
I said I'm just curious. Like, you have a specific profession in the UK, or some kind of work that you're involved with?
Yeah. I'm a marketing professional, so I'm a marketing executive. Well, my background's in digital marketing and traditional marketing, so I've been doing a lot of voluntary work, some consultancy work, and I'll be starting a new job pretty soon with a service-based company, and I'm looking forward to that because the pandemic certainly changed my life, and it changed my route. So yeah, marketing is my way forward.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
So your job is certain already?
Sorry, double conversation here. Who am I?
The job is certain already.
Yeah.
Hired, for sure. Wow.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you very much. You make the best out of a bad situation, so it's all good.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, I personally professionally wasn't that affected by it, but so many people around me were deeply affected. How much it interrupted all, everything.
Yeah, honestly, big firms are actually looking to buy from smaller businesses, and this is an opportunity for individuals to really just get out there and start a business idea. They can become their own USP, because if you read heavily into what's going on with the marketing landscape, big firms are really looking to buy from independent businesses, and it's the way to go right now. It's an interesting movement right now. It really
Is that a
is.
specialty of yours?
Online is obviously the way forward, e-commerce. Any particular industries? I would say there's a lot of jewelry, there's a lot of tech, any kind of business on an e-commerce platform like Amazon or eBay, Shopify. Shopify is a big one. Or even doing like freelance work in digital marketing of some sort. It's all big. Social media management, that kind of stuff. Or becoming a TikTok star.
Are you doing stuff there?
I like to watch the videos. I like to stay in the background with that. I like to just do my I like to make moves in the background, if anything.
Make moves in the background? What do you mean?
Yeah. Well, it's like I don't really want to show myself off in the front. I'd rather just do my magic in the background, like just work out my strategy, make myself grow, help other people grow. And if I wanted to really put myself on the front line, I know how to do it. I've got the personality for it. I'm not boosting myself. I just have faith in myself. So if I really want to, I will. But I'm happy in the background for now.
Yeah. Support, because it takes a group of people to do something, whatever it may be, and there have to be people who are strong in the support.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a bass player. I play music a lot and for bands, and we're never in the front, never get the spotlight. Sort of forget about that part of the band entirely. But it's a very, very, everybody knows it's a very, very important part of the team, if anybody's going to be successful. So.
Exactly. You'd rather just like make the percussion in the background and just let people enjoy it from the front. I'm all about that.
Exactly. I never really want to be the lead guitar player or the main focus at all. I like supporting particularly I like supporting good singers. That's my favorite thing to do. Me
too. I like to hear that. That's good to hear. Yeah.
I'm more like the spotlight guy.
You're the lead singer.
I like to
we know.
You noticed. Yeah, I like to show myself. I really lose my motivation when my name is not connected to a project. I'm a copywriter.
You should.
Sorry.
I said it's important. You have to get credit. You have to promote yourself. Nobody else is going to do it for you.
Yeah. So as a copywriter, I've tried to create stuff for other people and be in the backstage. But it's quite painful for me not to let my personality speak.
Yeah. Somebody.
I'm learning to manage that. Sometimes selfishness. And actually, guys, the topic is I want to talk about procrastination with you guys. In the beginning, we were talking about procrastinating entertainment, procrastinating like TV shows, or even literature.
The what? Say it again.
Can you hear me well?
What did you say? It was the theme was what?
Procrastination.
Procrastination.
Yes. So, Jeff, I understand that you are an avid reader. So usually you don't have much trouble reading. But what is something that you procrastinate usually?
I am actively removing procrastination from my life. That's a constant, ongoing pursuit. I am committed to the idea that things have to be done when they can be done. And I think I've been fairly successful at making sure that I do not procrastinate. Procrastination is to be defeated, I think.
I see.
There are lots of an example of where I procrastinate, just on my sort of list of goals, is I don't like to work out in the morning. I tend to procrastinate about that, about exercise and working out.
I see. So that you're trying to eliminate that procrastination, do it every day.
Yes.
In spite of your body screaming, don't do it.
Yeah, no, I'm a big believer in habits, setting good habits, consistency, achieving small goals every day. I love that kind of stuff, and I think it works.
I see. So you tend to procrastinate exercising. Do you feel like you procrastinate anything online?
Online?
Yes, like you tend to procrastinate digital things more than analogical things, or it doesn't make a difference?
I don't know if it makes any difference at all. I mean, I don't find it that pleasant to be online, for long periods of time. I will get up and go start doing something else for sure. Can't really think of one. Why, do you have things, or Mindie, or Beatrice?
Yeah.
I'll let Beatrice talk, and then I'll fill in after.
Tris, what do you normally procrastinate?
Wake up.
Waking up?
Waking up.
Wow.
Actually, get out of my bed, because sometimes I wake up well, but I have difficulty to do my things that I have to do. I just stay in my bed and I don't remember. But actually, I have to a little anxious things, because if I don't do something, if I have to do, I can't sleep. So something complicated to me. It's a battle beside me, because sometimes I say to me, "Oh, I want to stay more than 30 minutes, snapping," but while I'm in these 30 minutes, I start to think all the things I have to do in the day, so I can't get relaxed, and I just procrastinating, but not enjoying the procrastination. So it's something too complicated to me.
Well, there's a strategy where if you give yourself the chance to relax or do something pleasurable, if you get those things done first. Like, you delay the pleasure or delay the reward. Okay. Sure.
Is that the concept of delayed gratification?
Certainly.
Yeah.
Certainly it is.
I believe in that.
Yeah.
Actually, do you think it's a talent? It's something you're born with? Because like there's a study on those kids. I don't know if you heard about that study, that they got some kids and got them into a room and they gave them one marshmallow, and they said, "Hey, I'll leave this here. I'll go away for 15 minutes. If you don't eat this marshmallow, I'll bring you one more. If you can wait, I'll give you one more." And then the kids actually wait for 15 minutes to eat two instead of one. They follow up with them throughout their lives, and they are actually more successful than the other ones who ate it right away. So since kids, we have this tendency of procrastinating or not. Do you think that's something you're born with or you develop?
I think it's probably a factor of the environment that you've been born in. Believe it or not, this was actually an experiment that lots of parents did on TikTok. So I'm aware that I'm aware of what you're talking about. But it's a bit like saying, is it a craft or a skill? I'm not saying procrastination is a skill, but I do definitely think it's a way of the mind. So it depends on like what very much overwhelms you, and if you're willing to tackle it, and if you've got some sort of anxiety or fear of letting it get to you. I think it's all based on the power that you have over your own mind. So it's more or less, I would say, a skill, because you're molding it in whatever shape or form, bad or good.
So you're saying it's not a skill?
I'm saying
it is, right?
Yeah. It is. You can learn.
Right, as opposed to, I think you described it as a talent or a skill. Like, a talent suggests something that you're born with or that is innate, whereas a skill is something that you have to practice and keep up with. Also something that nearly anybody could probably acquire, like carpentry or another skill, you know. So
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%. It's a skill that has to be practiced. And
Yeah, so let's practice procrastination. Hey!
The thing is, there are people who don't need to practice. And this has you think, like, were they born with it? Like, it's a skill, but you don't need to practice. So, like, tell me about that.
But I have to practice procrastinate sometimes because I'm kind of person that if you say to me, oh, I want you do some this for me, you give me a how's the
Deadline?
name deadline, and if I can do right now, I will do. But it's something that I have a problem because every time if you give me something to do, I don't expect my time. It's something like everybody give me something to do. I'll always stop what I'm doing right now to do that thing. So sometimes it's good for example, in university or working things because I always give the thing after before the deadline. But anyway, my personal life is so complicated because I don't give time to relax to or to enjoy myself and anything else.
I see. Yeah, so there are people who procrastinate procrastination. Like I never stop to do nothing. I'm always doing something, and this is also a problem. But I just want to mention like two terms. That's procrastinator and precrastinator. You know, like Tris, you are a procrastinator probably because you do it on the first day. I'm definitely a procrastinator. I do it on the last day. So when I tell you I have, I'll give you like, oh, I'll do that. This happens a lot in translation. Like I'll get you that. That will be done in a week from now. I will start doing that 3 days before the deadline. You know, like if not in the last day. And I have people who work with me in translation. They delegate work to. That kind of balance that out because I gave the client 1 week. I take sometimes 3 days to give them the task to do, but they do it on the very first day. So like at the end, I deliver way before deadline, you know. So they are procrastinators, I would say. However, procrastinators have an advantage. I don't know if one thing causes the other, who came first, you know. But I'm not sure if that's a rule. It's not a rule ever about humans when I talk about humans, but procrastinators tend to be more creative. Also, because procrastination matches the ideation process. You know, when you create something, you first have input. You face the problem. You look at it. So you know what you have to do. You get information, do some research, and then you go away, do something else entirely, and then you let your mind connect the dots and create some more neural pathways into what they call a eureka moment, an aha moment, in which something comes to your mind and you can come back to the task and do it faster than you would have if you hadn't paused, if you hadn't procrastinated.
This sounds a little bit like a theory developed by some kind of procrastinator.
Yeah, it does. But no, actually, the ideation process has nothing to do with procrastination. It just matches procrastination. Like people who procrastinate tend to have more time to be doing random stuff while that's working in their minds. And then they come back, they can create something a bit
Can I offer
away from the curve.
A counter theory to this?
Okay, please share.
What I've noticed about highly creative people is that they don't procrastinate about anything. What they do is work consistently, constantly. So that because the danger of procrastinating is you lose the motivation and the inspiration for the idea. And what you have to do, I think, is seize upon the idea as soon as you get it. So highly creative, highly successful people seem to be at work more than anything. The talent, I think, is not in how great of an artist you are, but how much you're willing to work on it.
This is kind of a problem because I am like this. I have an idea and I want to act upon it right away. But this is a problem because now sometimes you are doing something else. That's more important.
Procrastinating.
And no, I mean, like I'm doing some other work and then that I'm not very excited about anymore. And then this exciting idea shows up and I have to act on it right now. And I procrastinate the first thing.
The other reason to do it and not procrastinate is because even if it's not good or if it fails, it's still important to go through with it and see how far you get. And then maybe it'll teach you something about what you have to do next time. These things I think you just have to do it. The most important thing is to get it done, whatever the project is.
I think if you do the thing, sometimes when I have deadlines, I do the thing in the deadline, but I start doing this at the same day that I receive the thing, and I finish in 2 3 days. But I use all my time to the deadline to improve that thing that I made. So sometimes get more wonderful that I made if I get to doing the last time to.
So you do it right away and then realize you have more time left and then you improve upon it.
So I can
Like if
waste
you
more time.
it seems to make the project more manageable.
Yes.
One second.
But at the same time, I have a problem to work with groups because I manage myself, so I like to do the thing all in the schedules or annotate or give time to work with it. So if I said if today is the day to work with that, and tomorrow I'll work with another thing, and someone of my team will say to me, "Oh, there's a problem in that work," and I say, "But I sometimes I get angry because uh, I scheduled myself to work in that thing yesterday and not today." So someone stopped me to do what I was doing because the time that he gets to work in this was that time that I not want to work with this. Something like this. It's so confusing.
Some context, you are a developer, right? You're a software developer.
Okay. I don't work in the area already, but in university context, I had an exam from a subject in this week, in the next week, and the same next week I have a team group to a presentation or presentation. I don't know, something that the teacher asked to us to talk about.
Do you want to present an assignment?
Yes. So we are in the weekend, so I took all my Saturday and my Sunday to work in this project group, and then I wanted to spend all my left days to my exam to study to my exam. So if someone stop me during the week to talk about the project team work, I'll get angry because it's my time to study to my exam.
I see.
So how can I say? So sometimes I have to procrastinate my exam study because someone.
It will be procrastinate. It will be to postpone or put
No,
off.
not because I want to be procrastinate, but because the others made me procrastinate.
It's not procrastination. It's just postponing. Like you wanted to be doing it, you're not doing it because you want to do something else.
What city are you in, Beatrice?
São Luís, Maranhão, Brasil.
Yeah.
Jeffrey has been there, Chris.
Yes?
Yeah, for a week, 1 week.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I did like it. Yeah, I didn't get to see enough. I wasn't there long enough. I'm trying to recall the cliffs. It's right on the water. We stayed. I don't know what part of town that was, where the hotel was, where we stayed.
It was
right on the water.
Peninsula.
Yeah. I mean, we were so busy with so many presentations and classes and stuff, didn't really get a chance to roam around and explore. I got that chance in Salvador, but not in San Luis.
Yeah. Jeff,
Jeffrey, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but for some reason your name just gives me like very author novel kind of vibes. So can I ask, what is your profession? Because Jeffrey Rubinstein, it sounds like the name that I read from a scholarly article of some sort.
I hope you're having like some premonition, maybe, or something. Maybe you're time traveling into the future.
Yeah.
I was procrastinating with that thought. I was thinking his name has some sort of particular vibe.
Jeffrey,
What is
you're
it?
writing a novel. I haven't written a novel yet. You're supposed to be an author.
Writing that, that's for sure. But I do English professor, so I've been a college professor for a long time, and certainly have published and written, and never published a novel, but plenty of other stuff. But I've done that for a long time, and pretty much played music and taught college English since 1998.
Nice. Do you enjoy it?
I do. I mean, I'm rattled by what has happened in the last year and how it's changing education, what we do, all this kind of stuff. Like everybody, like every other industry or any other kind of livelihood, it's had an effect. But the academic environment has been wonderful, and the opportunities it affords, the time that it affords, no complaints.
So here's a good question for you, based on the subject that we're talking about. If there's a student that's procrastinating online in one of your classes, how do you get them back? How do you get them back into your world?
I mean, to be absolutely blunt, the reason why I went into I guess here in the States, we call it higher education. Higher education is anything after high school. So it would be any kind of college or anything, or postgraduate. So the reason why I got into higher education is because I wasn't interested in parenting or managing students or children. If they're adults and they come into the college classroom, or if they're online and they don't attend, that's on them. I'm not really there to, mildly persuade them, but after a certain point, it's completely on them. I can't make them complete assignments or attend meetings or any of that kind of stuff. And that's rarely part of the job, I would say. They're adults. They show up or they don't show up. They pass or they don't.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But was there a point in your career in which you used to like babysit them?
I've never been, and that's why. And this is interesting. Like in this again, and I don't know if this is unique to the States or not, but we don't use. I wouldn't. Although many people use the terms teacher and professor interchangeably, I would not, and I would make the distinction. A teacher teaches, and they're also nurturing. They have, and especially in the United States in public education, they have a lot of roles. They might be social workers. They might have to parent. They might have to nurse. They have to nurture for sure. As a college professor, I don't do any of those things. I don't have any interest in none of it. Nurturing, parenting, monitoring, managing, that's not part of the job profile. There's so much less pressure. A public school teacher in the United States is like an embattled civil servant. In academia, it's a completely different job. That's why I don't think the titles are interchangeable.
Yeah. Actually, I just Googled here the etymology of teacher. Let me.
And professor. That's why, like, I'll say to the students, I'm a professor, not a teacher. I don't teach. I profess.
Yeah. So teacher comes from Old English, taken, show, present, point out. Of Germanic origin, later is a token. From an Indo-European root shared by Greek, deikonai.
Oh, interesting.
Digma, sample. is to show, is to point out. So,
Right.
that way. What about professor?
Well, I don't know. I know what my own etymology is to profess.
Yeah, let's go deeper than that.
Yeah.
So, late Middle English from Latin professor.
Declare publicly.
Profess,
Well,
declare.
oh, sorry, go on.
Criteri, to profess. Oh, look at that. Maybe to profess and profit have a shared origin. Middle English has been professed, received into religious order. From Latin profess, declare publicly, from pro before, pateri, confess. To confess before, to profess is basically to say it's going to happen, like maybe to predict.
To state it publicly, to declare it.
Publicly. But before thing, to say before it happens.
Yeah.
A prophet does that. A prophet comes bearing news about some ominous future, I would say.
Well, to put it back in the academic context, you would say, I profess, or I can profess, what will be a well-written essay.
Yeah.
An essay will be well-written and receive a good grade if it follows these steps.
Yeah. So it would be similar to predict.
Right. A teacher has to show the student those steps.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Okay.
So if I can ask a question, which might be a bit of confession time for a professor, would you say the English language or the American language is flawed, or they're both flawed at the same time?
Well, it's the English language, and then there's the Americanized. It's not even dialect, but because there's very little difference between really American English and British English. But what do you mean by flawed?
I personally find it flawed because there's like too many differences when it could just be uniform across the board. Maybe it's because of my own lack of knowledge and understanding why there's so many differences. But it's like if I was to say Americanized, I would presume we would spell it with an S, but the American way would be to spell it with a Z. I'm like, why? Why would you need to do that?
We wouldn't even say Z. We'd say Z.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There you go, flawed system already.
But why is that flawed? I mean, if you say English is flawed, you're saying the languages are flawed, because that happens everywhere. In every language.
That would be my observation. Right.
There we go.
That's not necessarily unique. The criticisms that I've heard about English, or that certainly students say, is why are there so many words for the same thing? Or
Yeah.
And they'll often say, like, we'll read something where someone uses some extraordinary vocabulary, and they'll say, what does that word mean? And I'll say, well, it just means sleepy. I say, well, why did they just say sleepy? Because desultory sounds better. That's why,
What was the word?
I'm sorry. The sleepy is soporific. Soporific means to induce sleep. I said dosal. That means moving slowly.
Oh, wait. Back up. Like soporific.
Soporific.
Wait.
Sleep inducing. The
like this
was soporific.
So to conclude, the English language is confusing. It might be flawed, but it's still appreciated. I get it. Okay. I get it.
Soporific, tending to induce drowsiness or sleep. Interesting.
Soporific. And then what do you have for desultory? D-E-S-U-L-T-O-R-Y? D-E-S-U-L? Desultory?
Desultory. Desultory, lacking in plan, purpose, or enthusiasm.
Lacking enthusiasm, yeah. Desultory, like,
Wow.
yeah, sluggish.
Casual, half-hearted, lukewarm, cursory, superficial, token.
Right.
Look at that, token connects to teacher. Etymologically. So a teacher lacks in enthusiasm at some point in history.
English is interesting because it's relatively new. It's a combination of languages. And, starting in about the late 16th century, it becomes probably the language with the most vocabulary in it because it's drawing from so many other languages. So it becomes almost like the first modern language. I mean, I'm not a linguistic historian or anything, but that's my basic understanding. That's why English has so many words in the language and so many vocabulary words, is because it's drawing from so many variables.
I think Portuguese has too many words than English
But isn't it true?
because sometimes uh, we have some slang or some kind of say something, and we have at least three words to translate to English to one. So
Right.
sometimes I get, so how can I translate this thing in English to Portuguese to don't miss the mean? Because sometimes you have three or four words to translate.
Yeah.
So
That's not a rule for either side. You know, it depends on what you're translating. For example,
yes,
we have the word emprestar, which can be borrow or lend in English.
yes,
Two words for one word in Portuguese. While we can say, while in Portuguese we have to say trazer e levar, depending on whether you are coming or going with something on you. And in English we can just say bring. So
yes.
I'm bringing something home. I'm bringing you back with me when I go back. You can say bring for either way. So
Yeah.
depending on what you're translating, on one language it's going to be two words or more. On the other one it's going to be two words or
Yes,
more.
I think I'm not. I think if I want to work with translating, it's going to be too many complicated to me.
Actually, it's not that hard if you practice.
But
Jeff,
I
you
think the
already
beginning will be difficult
have an
to.
idea, a reflection, you're thinking about something.
No, go ahead. Keep going. I'm finding everything very, very interesting. So it's giving me a lot to think about.
And in Portuguese, we have some words that from Latin, African, and the native dialects that unfortunately we don't have too many contact, but we have some words from them.
Yeah, I
So
remember hearing that.
and so sometimes you get lost to understand this. If we don't stop to study that, we are you can know what's going on. But at the same time, I think it's cool because I'm trying to learn French now, and I don't have so many difficult to understand reading in French. My difficult is writing or listen or talking.
Yeah.
But if I read something in French, Spanish, Italian, or something like uh, that came from Latin language, it's not too much difficult to understand something.
Yeah.
We can get the general idea.
Yeah. I don't know why I found Portuguese actually easier to understand and read than Spanish, because I've been exposed to Spanish much longer than Portuguese, and I saw an interesting. It was some kind of a diagram, and it showed the similarities between Portuguese and English compared to Spanish and English, and there's actually more commonalities between Portuguese and English than there is between Spanish and English.
Yes.
Why is that?
It's something like I have the problem with French because from they are similar to Portuguese. French is so similar to Portuguese, but I have difficult to learn or to get improved in this language. Some I don't know. I think because my second language that I had contact or I study a lot was English. So to me, is more easy to think that thing in English to think the name in French, for example. I don't know.
Much easier. Depends on what you learn first, right?
Yeah.
And learning French is easier when you speak English and Portuguese, you know, because English has some borrowed words from French, like
Yeah.
carrot, for example. So,
Cliché.
like the word when you learn carrot in French, it's carotte.
Avocado.
Yeah.
But
Avocado.
avocado in English and in French are different meanings. But
Yeah.
what you got? You want to play with
Does
the
it exist in English, this word? Avocado.
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 Yeah, avocado, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, in French it's avocado, if I'm not mistaken. It's quite similar. And then there are other words like our, like bear, which is similar to Portuguese, urso. You know? So like knowing those languages helps you speak French.
Like the star, Ursa, or
Yeah.
Latin for bear. It's Ursus.
Yes. Ursa, ursa.
I think I don't know, but for example, in Portuguese you have too many temporal of a conjugation verb,
Yeah.
and too many people too many persons to conjugate the variation in person. While in English you just have he, it, only the past and the tempo, the time conjugation, but we have but in French, in Portuguese, we have the same person conjugations,
Yeah, the time
the same.
tenses. There are several.
Yes. So it's so complicated to understand the logic in French. I don't know. We have it's so difficult to understand why we have difficult to learn Latin English to understand English. I don't know if because, for example, in French class, uh, almost all of us uh, studied English first, so we had so many difficulties understanding French.
See.
You always getting. I think it's funny because sometimes the professor say, the teacher say, only French in class, and no, actually he say, don't speak Portuguese in class. So when he say at the end, you don't understand the meaning of the word in French, and someone asking, what this mean? Someone just translates to English, and he said, okay, only French in the class. On the also one of my friends translate the word to Korean because he was Korean, so it's so funny sometimes because it's making a multi language class.
Yeah, I think that should be encouraged. You know, like a language doesn't hinder the learning of another. It helps. You know? And the more like usually when we're learning a second language, we tend to have this limited view. We have to speak only the other language. But when you become a polyglot and you start learning other languages, why the fuck am I trying to stop myself from speaking other languages when they are all related and I can draw connections between all of them and learn them together? You know, translation is a very useful tool for learning languages. I've learned all of them by using translation.
Sometimes I get myself thinking a semi. I sometimes I have faults in English and in French. I start to think in English and I finish the statements, the phrase in French. So sometimes I get what is going on.
Yeah, but if when you practice, you'll be able to stop doing that. You know, don't get confusing one language and the other. Like if you think in one language, think in that one, and then you can switch to the other very quick. So it depends on how much you practice. Mindie, you're very silent.
Oh, I felt that there was some interference from my earphones because one part is broken, so I just muted myself until you call me.
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
I'm good though.
I was gonna say something that I forgot. Oh yeah, about English. You were talking about English, and English has this thing about phonetic inconsistency, right? Like it's hard to predict how a word is gonna be pronounced only from spelling, right?
Mm-hmm.
and like linguistically explain, like the spelling hasn't evolved a lot throughout the years, while speaking has. So there's a growing cliff between the two things.
What about grammar? Do you think that we should change or update the rules of grammar because informal conversation has changed grammar so much? Should we change the rules to adapt, or try or try to get people to learn the proper formal rules?
What do you think, Mindie?
I do actually think that people should know how to speak the proper way, because a lot of the way how people speak is now more or less text speak, so it's very informal, and not a lot of people understand. There's like a large generation gap happening in the conversations, so the proper way would be ideal for that to be taught. Because if for my future unborn child, I would want them to know how to speak proper English, and if they want to go out and speak a dialect or speak a new language which is known to their community or to their generation, let it be known to you, but at least know where the basics and the roots come from. Especially being bilingual, it helps me certainly to understand other languages, touching on what we've just spoken about. So yeah, definitely learn the proper way before you decide to create your own text. Yeah.
Exactly. Learn the rules before you break them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, yeah, it's a good question. Because like, there are some.
Well, Gus,
It's important.
your thoughts there. The reason why it comes up is because people don't necessarily want to take the time to learn the rules, and we're not going to necessarily. The other part, unfortunately, a lot of times when you do write well with good grammar, a lot of people won't necessarily even recognize it, whether it's right or wrong. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, I do value understanding well-written language, but I do believe it can be a skill developed without actually necessarily studying grammar. We can just, from contact with the language, recognize whether it's well written or not. I mean, when I say contact with grammar, I mean the names of the things. Like, I don't necessarily have to know that's an adverb or adjective or noun or a verb or complement or anything like that. I just have to feel that's right or wrong. What do you think?
Well, how do you get that feeling? How do you acquire whether it's, because I agree, lots of people write well and speak well, and they don't know the names of the parts of speech, or they don't know why what they're saying is correct. So my question is how do you think intelligent, well-educated people are able to write and speak correctly without the technical aspects of grammar? I have an answer in mind. I'm just curious what your thought would be. How do you think people acquire that ability?
Contact and practice.
How do they get that contact?
By reading
That's
and listening.
the answer that I have in mind. By reading.
Yeah. Like in French, I never stopped to study the names of the things. But just a second, Tris. And something that really helped me was Duolingo. Duolingo is a language learning app, and then it has you repeat so many times the same structures that you start internalizing them. Like I don't have to remember whether that's past simple or something like that. I just know how to use it.
I don't. I have difficulty to use Duolingo to learn language. I use it just to remember words and new now have contact with new words. Spend my vocabulary because the way that they say, someone has to explain me that this is a adverb and this is a verb and this is have to come in after other word. Because if you don't say me, I don't have the ability to stretch this only what's in reading same or too much statements with the same structure, but I don't get the meaning because I had some professors or teachers who try to teach me English, and I had so many difficult to understand when they first uh, give us example and say try to understand or try to get out the structure that we try to learn today. I always had problem to do this. I know it sometimes it's good to make the chance, but I had difficulty to understand this. But when they started explaining the grammar first, and after applying the grammar that we learned, I have more good results that we doing the inverse.
I see.
So I think sometimes it's too good to you say this is a verbal verb. On and because Portuguese I had too much basing of our language. So when it starts to, if you say me, oh, this word is an adjective or adverb, so I remember the meaning in my language. So let's say the adverb will characterize you, qualify something from the verb, and an adjective will do it to the a noun. So it's easy to me to understand this in other languages. If you say this is adjective, I use this to qualify or quantify a noun. And if you say that this is adverb, I say that I have to use it in the adverb to change the adverb, something verb in case. So it's too much easy to me understand this that not just me seeing the how can I say compartmental the structure.
I see. Jeff, is everything okay?
I hit my
No way, I don't know it.
Did you see me react to that? I just hit my on the table there.
You ran away. What was happening?
Excuse me? Oh, no, I just had to get I heard my phone going off.
Okay. So yeah, do you think that people should learn like the names of the grammar? What's your thought on that? Entire thought on learning grammar?
Oh, I think I said it before, and I agree with Mindie. You have to learn the rules. You can't speak perfect grammar all the time, and not every context requires perfect grammar. So as long as you learn the rules, then you're free to break them forward whenever.
Yeah. Save yourself the algebra, man. Honestly, like just save yourself from the hassle. Just go back to basics. It helps you so much in the long run.
Yeah.
Ale, you're here.
I am.
Off you go away and you come. Okay.
I'm a little bit late. I'm so sorry.
No problem. How was the day? Anything?
It was no, I was looking after my nephew, and that's it. Just that.
You have a bird?
A bird chirping?
What?
You have a bird there?
Yeah, birding out?
No. Yeah, there's a bird here.
Yeah.
We can loudly hear it.
You really?
Yeah. They started to hear it.
That's one chirpy bird, man. Absolutely chirpy.
I don't know which bird it is. I never heard this bird here.
Is he a ghost?
Strange. Yeah, it's super loud.
Let it speak then.
Is that outside?
Wants to share.
It's outside your window?
Yeah, it's outside.
Oh, I thought it was like we're out there.
Let me try to check.
I
No
think
idea.
we're procrastinating right now, aren't we?
I'm curious. This is a mystery.
That was your window. I saw the window.
You want to see? No, I can't see.
It's close.
It's gone.
Yeah, I think now it stopped. Now it's started to be observed.
Can you hear him? Them?
Yeah, a bit. Yeah. No, because it's like sunset, and they start
Or is it
settling down to sleep.
one of those little monkeys?
No.
You have them though, right? In
Here in Curitiba?
Yeah.
We have, but they are not, how can I say, they're not from here. So they were introduced by someone.
Huh.
Yeah, and actually those monkeys, they are killing some birds here because they eat the eggs.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they're trying to capture them, but there's a lot. Someone one day just decided to release them
Rebecca.
because they thought they were cute. Well, I can't see them, but yeah, they're here somewhere.
We're talking about procrastination.
Oh, I'm the queen of procrastination.
Tell us how you procrastinate. It's interesting.
Well, I have a lot of books to read. I have a lot of English classes to study, and I'm not doing this. I usually spend my time on social media, and I'm trying to detoxify a little bit. Is that the word?
That's a good word. Yeah.
Yeah.
To intensify.
Detoxify.
Oxify.
Detox.
Oh.
Detoxify. So
Isn't
that's what I'm trying to do. I don't know, but I like the word detoxify.
You get the rules. I like the word.
Yeah. You plan to detoxify from social media?
From social media, yeah.
This is something I actually wanted to introduce in the conversation, like doing what we call dopamine detox, right? Like, because things that we love to do the most are usually the things that release the most dopamine. And then it gets harder and harder for you to do difficult things, because difficult things don't release as much dopamine. So in order to be able to reset your brain in a way, and start valuing again like less immediatist things, getting away from everything, any high stimulus has your equilibrium, your dopamine homeostasis get reduced into a state in which you can start focusing again on hard things. So how do you detoxify? I'm not sure that's a word.
It is. You're gonna Google it. You don't trust me.
I am doing it. No.
So the idea is that if you replace the dopamine rush that you would get from social media with something else, then the digital dopamine is just not as interesting anymore. It's not as effective.
No, actually, it's not replacing with something else. It's replacing it with nothing for some time, like for a day, for instance. Instead of like on a Sunday, you can get the whole day offline, and you get access only to a pen and like a notepad they can take notes on, and you don't do anything that stimulates you. Like you don't watch TV, you don't watch TV shows, you don't talk to friends, you don't spend time.
Technology, no digital technology.
Yeah, no technology.
You could do anything else. You could exercise, take a hike. You could.
Yes, you take a hike, you can go for a walk.
Have you done this?
Sorry?
Have you done this?
I haven't.
Anybody?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
How'd it go?
Yes, I do that sometimes when I want to sleep.
It's not easy.
Makes sense.
To me, it is because I don't have too many contacts in social media. I just into some social media just to check if something when I'm boring. For example, if I waking something because I hate wake. So when I wake something and just open my Twitter or Instagram and start to see all the things. But I just do this, just watch the what they talk about. Just this. It's not something that I like to just to spend my time when I have to wait something.
Yeah. So when you go to bed, you don't feel like using the phone before you go to bed. You just lie down and sleep.
When I go to bed, I just get out my cell phone into chargement and goodbye.
Wow.
Just when I have trouble sleeping, I just get my cell phone and start to listen to music. Or find another some book to read and try to have some sleep.
So you can spend a whole day without doing anything. It's okay for you.
Yes, I can.
Although you're trying to do that now. How's it going? How are you applying it? When are you doing it?
When? Well, usually at night because there's a configuration on your phone where you can choose the sleep time. So your phone just it's not switch off, but you can't see any notifications when you switch this on.
It's called
so what?
I think it's called night mode.
Yes.
As for me, it depends on the phone. For me, it's sleep whatever. Yeah. And I'm trying to sleep blah blah blah. So yeah, maybe. So I'm trying to leave my phone at 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. So when you send me like really late at night message, I'm not gonna read it. That's why I read only on the other day.
Yeah, it's okay. Like many people, I've had fights over that. I used to work with my mother in a project, and we hired someone. And then sometimes I have ideas before I go to bed at 11 p.m. and I want to share them right away. And then she would complain that I will be sending messages late at night. But it's not because I'm sending now that you have to react to it now. It's your phone. You decide when you're gonna read it.
Yeah.
So like it's you have control over. You don't have control over when you receive a message, but when you read it. So don't complain to me. Complain to you. You don't deny it.
No, I'm not complaining. When I say you, I say the people.
Talking to her. I'm talking to her.
I'm a kind of a person that I want to sleep early, but sometimes I try to, for example, at 20 o'clock I already sleepy, and I convinced myself to sleep at 10 o'clock p.m. because it's the time that almost everybody try to talk to me. So I try to keep you awake by the time. Yeah. But when it's 10 o'clock, I just put my sleep time in your phone and the notifications come, but I don't see. So I think it's so beautiful to sleep. And sometimes when I want to sleep during the afternoon, I just turn off my Wi-Fi just to don't get some boring notifications.
I see. But like, are they on during the day? Like, to get a sound, or just you see them on your notification bar?
Actually, my cell phone is not on ringtone. Is on, how can I say, that mode that not silence. Just start to shake.
Don't disturb.
No, vibration. Vibration mode. So it don't do
It doesn't
phones
ring. It just
ring, but if it's contact with the objects, it starts to make that kind of sounds strange. So I can feel the notification. It's not the sensitive mode. So sometimes I don't hear the notification coming on, but I can feel it coming on.
I can feel it. I can feel it coming. Someone's gonna talk to me in a second.
And I have that problem of if I see that type of notification on my social medias, I have to watch everything or have to see everything because this make me too much como I say accommodated. I don't know the words.
If you're bothered,
Yes.
if you're bugged by notification that doesn't go away.
Yes. In my
You know WhatsApp? You read all of the messages on WhatsApp?
I read all the messages on my WhatsApp.
Never do. I gave up.
And the status and
status,
everything.
you watch all of the statuses of all the people?
Yes, because I don't like to see that bowing.
So you're lying to us. You say that you don't spend a lot of time on social media.
But I don't see that.
It takes a lot of time.
I just click on status and they start to go on, and I start to
Then
do
what?
anything else.
I see.
So you can see that I saw you status, but I didn't saw really. My cell phone saw you status. That's me.
Emily, what do you usually procrastinate?
Me?
Yeah, you said that you procrastinate studying.
Yeah, because I need to read a lot of books, including the one you gave me, and I need to study. But every time I think of it, I don't know. I think that social media just attracts me more.
I see. So this is what usually procrastinate with social media.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Always.
Since I'm a creator, social media attracts me the most. Very rarely because of other people. You know, it's usually because of myself. I want to see how many people saw my stories, or how many people clicked on something I put on stories, or how many people liked my picture. I've been trying to disconnect a bit, like my happiness from these little numbers and statistics. And for being a creator, even on Instagram, you don't even have to have the app on your phone anymore. You know, you can create elsewhere. There are other apps that allow you to post on Instagram without accessing it. Yeah, but Instagram is addictive for me in that sense, and on how many people interacted with me. I don't usually watch all of people's stuff and everything, but sometimes I get lost in the explore page. This is the explore page of Instagram is the new opening the fridge and forgetting what it's gonna do, or you were gonna do. You know, have you ever felt that? You open the fridge.
No.
And what was it gonna?
I just use Instagram just to see the news about something from my university. Just to follow my course coordination, my university notifications or language course. Only this.
I like that.
I don't like.
What's this explore page?
It's like when you go to search for someone, like you click the.
Okay.
You know, so click the magnifier. I was gonna search for someone, and then I see something else, and I get into that, and I go.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
I think I'm happy being a low profile person.
Mindie, so you have been out of social media these days, right? What drove your decision?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
You have been out of social media these days. What drove your decision, or made you decide for that?
Yeah, I've got quite I have quite a digital footprint online, and I really wanted to minimize that, because I've worked in roles in previous with previous companies where I have a strong social media presence, even if that means not on my personal profile, but for the company's social media. And in early December, I just decided to come off it because I did ask myself, what's my objective of being on social media? Besides LinkedIn being the most useful one, a lot of them were just for entertainment purposes. And I just thought, I don't really have anything to offer right now. And I just needed a bit of a clean break. So a big digital detox, I'm not going to lie, it's done me the world of good. And I've actually thought about opening up a new page where I'm actually able to offer some golden nuggets, which I'm actually putting together right now. But yeah, a digital detox from my social media pages has really helped me out. I don't want anyone to know what I'm about just yet. But once I've grown a bit more, I'll be happy to go back online.
I see.
Yeah.
If you need any help in branding,
Sure, I will do.
And Jeff, you are completely out of it. Like, actually, you are on Facebook.
That's
So
the
not.
extent of my social media presence, and I'm not even very good at that either.
Yeah. Are you on YouTube? Like, YouTube is I like YouTube. It's healthier in a way, you know.
Well, I don't. I mean,
Focus on creating.
Podcasts and some music videos and stuff that have ended up on YouTube, but I never got into promoting it. I mean, it's funny that I offered advice earlier. You know, if you don't promote yourself, nobody's going to do it for you. And if there's something, I guess another thing that I procrastinate about would be, I'm not interested. I don't promote myself very well. I don't promote, you know, what I do, music, whatever it may be. I'm not someone that's gonna. I'm not very good at promoting myself. I'm aware of it, but.
And do you think
I
it harms
got
you in any way?
I got
Say
you.
again? I'm sorry.
Do you think it harms you in any way or limits you? Or...
I mean, I think whatever you get out of this stuff is directly proportional to what you put into it. So if I put in a little effort, I might get a little response. If I put in a lot of effort, I probably get a lot more of a response. It's just proportionate to what I put in. And I guess I'm not that interested in putting in that much. But I don't crave with the kinds of attention you guys are. Maybe it's generational. I'm not sure. But I didn't grow up with social media, so I don't crave the endorphin rush of having people like my pictures. You know, you can see the narcissistic side of it, kind of what you were describing earlier. You're not on there necessarily to see other people's content. You're there to see how people react to your content. I don't feel any particular desire in that regard. But if you write something or play music, you expect a reaction. You want people to react to it. You wouldn't do it otherwise. I just don't put it on social media.
I see. Yeah, you can maybe try YouTube because YouTube, it works for you in a way. It's an investment. You put it there, and then whenever
I love YouTube because it's just such an incredible resource for nearly anything. I mean, I've spent hours and hours on it. I'm not interested necessarily. I don't. If I have something to promote, I would definitely. I would utilize any social media tools if I had a product or something that I wanted to promote for sure. If I hesitate.
But what I've found out recently, and it took me a while to find that out, is that sitting down and talking to people is sometimes more effective than social media. You know, depending on where you are. Also, like since I don't have millions of followers, sometimes it's more effective to set up a meeting with 10 people and let them know about what I'm up to. You know, because they will refer me. They will maybe. Connect me to other people, and that might be more effective, mainly regarding sales than social media. That was very true at the Coffee Club. Like when I started, it's only trying to attract people from Instagram, having them apply on my website, going through all of that process. When I just said, "Hey, can we get some coffee on this time?" At that time, I started closing so much more now because I was actually just talking to people normally, and it really helped me. Jeff, I invite you to have a coffee with me next week because I want us to record our podcast. And I realized that we shouldn't be planning. We're just going to talk about something and realize what the episode was about instead of deciding.
I like that idea.
Yeah. Instead of deciding what the episode is going to be about, we talk about it and then we're like, okay, we talked about this, so this is the topic.
Really?
It's easier than overthinking.
I think that's a really cool idea. I like that. But the only problem, of course, is when you don't plan, is what if you don't get any good content? If there's nothing particularly interesting about it.
But after procrastinating that for months, I believe it's better if we get it done already than
It'll just
we can also stop procrastinating, just decide for a topic and study about it. Okay, we will discuss that later.
So there's no what you're saying is that there's very little chance that it won't be brilliant. So we might as well.
Yes, it will be brilliant.
Slim chance.
Sure.
It's still obviously going to be brilliant. That
This is clear.
There's no need to. The podcasts that I did, I'll tell you, I found much better and much more successful if you did have an outlet, without a doubt. Otherwise, it really just does sound like two people rambling. And two people talking is not that interesting, despite what many people think about their own podcasts and stuff.
I see.
You have to. I mean, I do. I think it has to be organized. It has to have a purpose. It has to have a flow. There has to be points that you hit throughout, the episode.
Okay. So on Tuesday when we meet, we will work on planning the episode instead of actually recording it.
So it's like a launching point. You have these points that you may talk about, and perhaps you do have some great exchanges, but you need the points. Well, I like the idea though of like not necessarily knowing what the episode is until after it's over. I think that's compelling. Yeah.
Vista, do you really have a podcast, or are you joking? Am I missing the trick here?
I do. It's on Spotify. It's called Savory Flavors.
3 different flavors?
No, savory.
Savory flavors.
Savory of flavors?
Sorry?
Savory flavors.
Yeah.
Well, I hate coffee anyway, so I'll still listen.
There's 1 episode so far. And this episode was planned, so maybe I should keep on the standards and keep on doing that planned one. We actually recorded one, Jeff, right? So, but it didn't work. The quality was bad.
Right, the audio wouldn't have worked.
And it was about what?
What was the podcast about?
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't remember. Oh, it was Granny's. It was Granny's English.
Oh, there you. Yeah, Granny's English.
Granny's English. So there was this about you guys. We would do these coffee clubs, and I would have these sort of colloquial expressions that are probably regional to the United States or the Southern United States, or how certain formal grammar may only still be used by your granny. Like why there's certain, right? Wasn't that what it was? It was like there's certain formalities in the English language that really would only be considered formal or archaic.
Yes.
And that's what we call, and you said that. You said, I think you said, didn't you call it Granny's English?
Yeah, I nicknamed it.
Right. I thought it was funny.
Yeah. By the way, a little trivia. Nickname means also name. This nickname comes from nickname, which means also name.
Oh.
So like your nickname is also your name.
I would have thought it meant like Nick was the nickname for Nicholas, and so that was the first
Nick's name.
Maybe not.
Guys, I think we can wrap up for today. And this episode is on YouTube, so maybe you can share it with a friend. And I'm hoping to grow on YouTube, like create more content, more well planned and professionally put out there content.
Gus, I know this is what live on YouTube means that I'm seeing on the corner of my screen.
Yes. It's been recorded on YouTube. It's there. There's only 23 people subscribed, so don't worry, nobody's going to see it. But
Better
if you
than
want
zero.
sorry?
Better than zero.
Yeah. But if you
Yeah.
want to help that number go up, please subscribe to the channel. I'll get you the link so you can access it.
But just out of curiosity, Gus, what is your goal as far as the coffee club? I mean, if you broadcast to YouTube, what is the content that you're wishing to promote or publicize?
I want to attract people who are interested in increasing their network and improving their ability to communicate in English.
Okay, good answer. No, seriously, and it's also good that you're able to describe it very succinctly and directly.
Yeah. Also, a way I like to describe it is people who are interested in intellectually stimulating conversations in English. You know?
Wow.
So like it's both the interesting topics, like language itself, and meeting new people. So these three pillars, I would say.
Brilliant.
You should record that as your first episode on YouTube as an infomercial. I think it'll be a hit.
Sorry? No, come again.
I said the way you explained that, it felt like such an infomercial. So if you record that as your first episode on YouTube, I think you could be a hit, man.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Seriously, though, the content that you produce always looks really good. I mean, when you put together the small videos and even the reading list and stuff, the content itself, I think, what I've seen, it's very impressive. It's professional. Yeah, I like it.
Thank you. Ale, by the way, Jeff came up with a list of short, how do you describe it, Jeff?
What, the short readings?
Yeah, short reading.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, these were just like a list of readings. Yeah, so you can add more to your reading list that you'll procrastinate on. You can put it on the top.
Thank you.
A list of short readings to never read.
Right. But there were sort of classic pieces. I think they're all, except there's a poem I think was originally written in Spanish, but it's translated into English. But most of them were probably written originally in English, but were short and also not easy pieces, but they were for the purpose of, I think, enhancing English skills, advanced vocabulary, and sort of maybe illustrating some of the subtleties and nuances in English. But also because the readings themselves are fantastic. I mean, they're beautiful, classic pieces, some of them. George Orwell, Pablo Neruda, Zora Neale Hurston. Can't remember the others. Maybe there was, I think a tough one in there would be William Faulkner. Was that in there?
I believe so, yeah.
I don't know if you still have it, but yeah.
So I got his list and I designed a PDF like with all the covers and the links straight to where you can buy and read them.
Okay.
You have to buy any. They should all be accessible online, I believe, for free. Any of them.
Is it?
I would imagine.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna check.
There
I
is-
promise.
Just got you the PDF.
Any of
And
the
Jeff will talk to you about recording a video of you explaining your list so you can post on YouTube and then people can download it from there.
I love the idea.
I love to watch this.
Say again?
Yes.
Oh,
I love
to watch it.
Watch this.
Yeah, the video is gonna be nice.
yeah. Well, you guys should read it so then we can discuss these readings.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, the Mark Twain one is on there too.
We can do a coffee club book.
Yeah, a book club, the golf club book club.
But the point I think is that and even there's a sonnet by Shakespeare. The point would be that these are short pieces, but if you read them and understood them and took your time, that would just be such an advancement in English vocabulary skills. Because they're Shakespeare is the epitome of the English language.
We can start from a sonnet. It's quite digestible, I would say, at first.
Exactly.
Is digestible a nice word?
It's a great word for it, but it's exactly to the purpose of Shakespeare's sonnets. The sonnet was supposed to be this easily consumable piece of entertainment.
Wow. And now what it became, like a very distant past, I would say.
To be memorized, actually.
Do you have any sonnet by heart?
I do. I know lots of Shakespeare by heart.
Wow.
Oh, yes.
Ali is impressed.
Good skill.
Yeah, I am.
Oh yeah, I entertain every semester. There's a certain point we'll be reading like a Hamlet or something, and there'll just be a certain point where I'm reading it in class and I don't use the book any longer, and the students are kind of looking like not referring to the book any longer. Just keep going. Good skill. You should learn it. You should learn it.
Do you have a short one to tell us?
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
So you
Not when you're doing this. Not when you go. Not when you're setting your phone up. You have
Can you give a poem? Okay, but it's been recorded anyway, so I'm just gonna re-record it.
I always was afraid of that. I was always afraid that when we were doing stuff like that, some student was in the class filming the whole thing.
That's good. Like, why you're afraid of promotion? Don't be afraid of promotion.
Exactly. Perfect example.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, guys, can we take a picture?
Sure.
Yes.
Straighten your hoodie.
Got to get that in the right shape.
There you go.
Perfect, guys. Thanks a lot for coming. Great day. Thank you, Tris. Thank you, Mindy. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Ale. And enjoy the rest of your day.
Ali, I know well,
Thank
but Mindy and Tris for the first time, so it's nice to meet you.
You too. It's been a great conversation. Thanks for your time.
Yeah. See you guys soon, hopefully.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Yeah, have a nice weekend.
Happy.
Bye.
You
Thank
too.
you to you too.
We'll talk soon then.